We are going to talk about surveillance cameras and if you feel like they are an invasion of privacy or are they comforting to see. There was a poll done in the article Top 8 Pros and Cons of Surveillance Cameras in Public Places by Amanda Lee, and when individuals were asked whether they thought surveillance cameras were an invasion of privacy, 37% said yes and 67% said no. These cameras aren't just used for home surveillance. Police can use them for facial recognition, software to look for suspects, detect unattended packages, and track cars if needed. That 67% of individuals that said they aren't an invasion of privacy are probably thinking that if someone isn't doing something bad, they aren't worried about the cameras in public places. They also may think of the positives that others would say about surveillance cameras. They can improve public safety, which reduces crime rates in certain areas. In Humboldt Park, the local police had found that the crime rates dropped 20% after surveillance cameras were put up. Around businesses, seeing surveillance cameras can help people feel safer with those to defer crime from happening, and even in the normal public places, have a peace of mind when they see them. Not only do they catch criminals, but they can also help prove people innocent in the same way. Also, for us Michiganders, the surveillance cameras can help monitor road conditions. So when car accidents do happen, the surveillance cameras can also help figure out what happened, exactly who was involved, and when it did happen. With positives, there are also negatives. Just because there are surveillance cameras, that doesn't always mean that the crime is just going to stop. If someone is set on committing the crime, cameras may not make a difference. Nonetheless, the cameras are extremely expensive. Not just with the labor of setting them up and putting them together, but the maintenance and the updates for them can be expensive as well. Unfortunately, the surveillance cameras can easily also be abused, and when abused, they can become an invasion of privacy. The footage stored on the devices can also be tampered with and manipulated. If someone knows specifically what they're doing, they would just need a special GET request that can trigger an override on the stored data. Not as easy as it sounds, but it is possible. When comparing the positives and the negatives of surveillance cameras, I personally support having them. My logic is if someone is doing something in public and doesn't want to be seen, they shouldn't be doing it at all, whether there are cameras there or not. I used to work in retail, and the surveillance cameras came in handy when we needed to see if someone was stealing or not. I am also interested in surveillance cameras at my house. I live surrounded by woods with very few neighbors, and my fiance works third shift, so I'm home alone most of the time, and my dog is not the best guard dog. The thought of them is just really comforting for me to have. So all in all, with all the statistics and all the reports, the FBI had estimated that there was 1,165,383 violent crimes and 8,277,829 property crimes that have been reported in 2014, even after the surveillance cameras had been put up. Even though some areas with surveillance cameras had lowered crime rates, some have not, and there are still a lot of changes and updates that we have ahead of us to improve the security of surveillance cameras.